Some of their comments are very funny.
Yes.
But it only means one thing, that nobody can ignore that which we are doing from the foundation of scripture. I saw Joshua Maponga wrote on his Facebook, he said, Chiwenga says, he says, does Chiwenga have proof that Abraham did not observe Sabbath? And I said, Maponga is very funny. I find him very funny in most cases.
All right.
Because there are two things I don't understand about Maponga.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I don't understand, which I hope one day I will understand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why he talks about everything in one conversation.
All right.
Yes. Do you want to talk about politics? Do you want to talk about philosophy? Do you want to talk about African spirituality before Christianity was introduced? Do you want to talk about pan-Africanism? Yeah, because at the end of the day, he has become a person he is now a person with a multiple personality traits around himself.
All right.
And this is why sometimes when people say Chiwenga must debate Maponga, I always said, I don't have a problem. On condition that we don't end up all over the place like he does most of the time. I don't want to discuss pan-Africanism with him because that is not my area of expertise. I consider myself a pan-Africanist, but I have a lot of reservations about what I might call orthodox or historical pan-Africanism. Yes. This is why I don't want to engage a lot in that line of thought where we borrow pan-Africanism as it was presented by the African nationalist leaders in the liberation movement era, where we wanted to gain our independence. Their definition of pan-Africanism is falling short, in my opinion.
Right.
I find that it is one of the reasons why Africa is backward to this day. We talked about pan-Africanism that had one target or two targets. We focused on liberating Africa. We did not talk about liberating the African society from its own prejudices.
Yes.
So we labeled the West our only enemy. And everybody talked about the Wild West, the imperialist West, the colonialist West. To such an extent that if you meet African politicians, especially the liberating generation or the liberation generation,
Yes.
they talk too much about the negative effects of colonialism, and they attributed that to the backwardness of Africa,
Right.
which is a misdiagnosis, in my opinion, of the African problem. I consider the African problem to be more homegrown than foreign sourced. We are our West problems. Yes. And I don't want to be turning this conversation or this service into a pan-Africanist conversation, but I want you to know why I will at some point engage those who claim to be pan-Africanists.
All right.
And challenge them that we need to redefine what we call pan-Africanism. Our pan-Africanism was much more vindictive towards the Western influence than it was introspective to our shortcomings as Africans. What did we do to be seen as a soft target by the Berlin Conference participants of 1884? Because Africa was not the only continent that was colonized. India was colonized.
Yes.
But India is 47 years ahead of Zimbabwe as we speak today, economically speaking. So what does India have that Africa did not have?
Good question.
Somebody said Nigeria and other African countries, the only thing we learned from the British colonizers is their language.
Yeah.
India rejected their language and learned their industrial designs and their industrial policies. This is why, industrially speaking, Africa cannot compare with India.
Yes. Okay.
But if you look at the history of India prior to colonialism, they were not as industrialized and they did not have a very defined industrial policy like they have now post-colonialism. What did we learn from Britain? We learned English, and we became very intoxicated with the English language that we started to compete among ourselves. Who is the best English speaker? And we learned how to wear clothes that they wore. And then we abandoned our own identity. I'll give you just one example for the sake of time.
Yes.
When we got independence as African countries, we managed to regain our power to set up the African society according to our own context. We kicked out the French from our countries, the British, the Germans, the Belgians, the Spanish, and others, and the Portuguese. So, after 90 years of colonialism, Zimbabwe was free in 1980. What then stopped us from reconstituting the African Zimbabwean society as it was prior to 1890? What stopped us from saying, by the way, look, I'll give you an example to clarify this. If somebody enters my house with a gun and says, I want to beat you up and rob you. So we are tied, all of us, our hands are behind our back, and we are beaten. And while we are being beaten, the robbers then say, your elder child is now the head of this family.
Right.
And after spending some few hours with us, they loot our television, our gadgets, and our money, and they go. In the morning, the police come and say, okay, we have arrested those thieves. They have obviously sold everything. They don't have money anymore. But we'll send them to jail, go to hospital and seek medical treatment.
All right.
We regain control of our home. And then from that day onwards, my daughter becomes the head of the family. And I then blame the robber who robbed me at night. And I say, I can't do anything about it. I used to be the head of the family, but one day robbers changed the setup of my family. And the people ask me, but are these robbers still in your house? No, they were arrested 10 years ago. So why didn't you go back to the structure of your family before the robbers came in? No, I don't understand. It's complicated. What is complicated? Mr. Mugabe and his colleagues and every other nationalist leaders in Ghana, in Nigeria, in DRC, in Kenya, in Sierra Leone, in Togo, in Tunisia, we had the room to say what was the African society structured like. What have we learned from the colonizers that might be good for us at this particular moment?
Yes.
How can we blend it with our true identity? We didn't.
No.
We didn't.
No, we didn't.
As we speak right now, the language that we are now calling Shona in Zimbabwe is now a hybrid language that has been heavily corroded by English. A person who was born in 2000 does not speak original Shona. In any case, there is no language called Shona.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. There is no language called Shona, Pastor Chuma. We didn't have a language called Shona.
I didn't realize that.
No.
Okay.
There's a Zulu spoke, there's a Zulu.
Yes.
The Korekores spoke their Korekore.
All right.
The Ndaus spoke their Ndau. But these languages, these dialects had something in common.
Yeah.
Our syllables, had, etymologically speaking, there were some similarities.
Yeah. Yeah.
When the British came, they said, you are all speaking Shona, you have to go to school. And so they came up with what we are now calling the Shona language, which is a mixture of all these dialects.
Yeah.
The Tongas are inside this Shona blanket. The Karangas are inside the Shona blanket. What stopped Mr. Mugabe from saying, no, let us go back to our original languages. Let the Karanga language be learned in school as Karanga. Let the Zezuru language be learned as Zezuru. Let the Korekore language be learned as Korekore. What stopped us from doing that?
Interesting.
What stopped us from reconstituting our dynasties? What stopped us from reconstituting the Ndebele kingdom? What stopped us from reconstituting the Devaroji kingdom? Why do we have chiefs? Who is a chief? What does the word chief mean in Shona? What is the Shona word for chief? There is no one Zimbabwean who can tell us the Shona word for chief. What is the Shona word for chief?
Atilizivi mambo.
The king is Mambo as well.
The word Mambo, it means the king.
Exactly.
There is no Shona word for chief in our society. We call the word chief Mambo. But it's not true. Mambo was an original word for a king. Mambo wavarozvi. Mambo wamandevele. Mambo mzilikazi.
Yes.
Unkosi.
Yes.
Pastor Chuma.
Yes.
That
yes,
was
yes.
king.
That was king, yes.
So ukasangana na chief izvezvi ukavati mambo uri kunyepa. We don't have a Shona word for a chief.